Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce continued their whirlwind romance, proving that even a pop superstar and an NFL tight end crave some quality time in the great outdoors. The couple was recently spotted enjoying a getaway in Big Sky, Montana, a popular destination for its stunning scenery and world-class skiing. TV's 87's exclusive sources reveal that Swift and Kelce spent the week carving up the slopes, taking advantage of the area's renowned ski resorts. And yesterday, Taylor was seen dining at the Yellowstone Club. Adding to the star-studded nature of their outing, sports broadcaster Erin Andrews was also allegedly spotted joining Swift for lunch. During this week, the couple were spotted enjoying a getaway in Big Sky, Montana, a popular destination for its stunning scenery and world-class skiing. From the moment Taylor Swift's plane touched down on the small runway just outside of town, there was an unmistakable energy in the air. Big Sky's majestic peaks and sprawling pine forests rose to greet them, like silent giants welcoming the star-studded couple into their alpine domain. For Taylor, this trip was more than just another celebrity escape. It was an opportunity to connect with nature and enjoy a moment of stillness away from the spotlight. For Travis Kelce, Big Sky offered a new type of thrill. He had conquered stadiums packed with roaring fans, but the call of the mountains promised a different kind of adrenaline. The NFL star wore an easy grin as he helped unload luggage from the SUV that met them at the small airport, clearly eager to immerse himself in Montana's famed wilderness. Snow draped the landscape like a pristine blanket, reflecting the bright winter sun. Taylor, bundled in a chic wool coat and a stylishly wrapped scarf, paused to breathe in the crisp mountain air. In that moment, the hush of Big Sky seemed to promise them a week of wonder, a reprieve from the noise of the world beyond these peaks. They climbed into the waiting car, the windows already fogging up from the warmth inside, and set off toward their lodge, a sprawling timber-framed sanctuary tucked away in the pines. It wasn't long before word got out that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce had arrived. A few local fans, accustomed to the occasional celebrity sighting, whispered excitedly in coffee shops and on the slopes. But for the most part, Big Sky's residents maintained a respectful distance, preferring to let the mountains and the snow do the talking. The lodge that would serve as their home base for the week was a testament to rustic luxury. Its grand entrance featured an imposing wooden door flanked by frosted lanterns, leading into a spacious living area illuminated by the soft glow of antler chandeliers. A towering stone fireplace crackled with warmth at the far end of the room, radiating heat that chased away the chill of the outdoors. Plush rugs with southwestern patterns stretched across the polished wooden floors, echoing the region's rugged charm. In one corner, floor-to-ceiling windows framed a breathtaking panorama of snow-capped peaks. Taylor was instantly captivated. She wandered over to admire the view, her breath catching at the sight of the powdery slopes and tall pines that stretched toward the horizon. Travis joined her, resting a gentle hand on her shoulder as they both gazed out at the wilderness. Even from inside the lodge, the mountains seemed close enough to touch. A small group of friends had traveled with them, close confidants who understood the couple's desire for a getaway that balanced adventure with intimacy. The group included some of Taylor's girlfriends, who brought along their own flair for fashion and fun. Later that afternoon, as everyone settled in, the women tried on cowboy hats in front of the fireplace, giggling as they posed and waved the hats in playful gestures. They had come prepared to embrace the Montana spirit, mixing designer boots with flannel and faux fur coats. As evening fell, the group gathered around a long wooden dining table set with locally sourced fare, bison steaks, roasted vegetables, and hearty soups. The conversation was light and spirited, an echo of the crackling fire. Even in this cozy setting, there was a hint of anticipation in the air. Tomorrow, the slopes of Big Sky would beckon, and the thrill of skiing was a promise that hovered just on the edge of everyone's consciousness. Early morning, the sun rose over the peaks, casting long shadows across the snow. With a mixture of excitement and nerves, Taylor and Travis prepared for their first day on the slopes. Exclusive sources reveal that Swift and Kelce spent the week carving up the slopes, taking advantage of the area's renowned ski resorts. Taylor, an enthusiastic but cautious skier, took a moment to adjust her goggles and ensure her boots were snug. Travis, meanwhile, wore a grin that betrayed his eagerness to tackle the mountain. They started on a moderate run, letting the crisp air fill their lungs as they glided over freshly groomed trails. The whoosh of skis against snow became a soundtrack for the day, punctuated by occasional bursts of laughter. Taylor's cheeks turned rosy in the cold, and Travis's voice carried encouragement as he waited for her at the bottom of each slope, his breath steaming in the chill morning air. As the morning wore on, their confidence grew. By midday, they ventured onto more challenging runs, where the slopes were steeper and the turns sharper. Even so, the couple took time to appreciate the scenery, the jagged peaks standing like silent guardians, the evergreens weighed down by snow, and the vast Montana sky stretching out in every direction. In between runs, they huddled together, sipping hot cocoa from a thermos that Travis had thoughtfully packed, the steam warming their faces and the sweetness energizing them for another descent. By late afternoon, the pair decided to call it a day, the muscles in their legs pleasantly tired from hours of exhilarating skiing. They returned to the base lodge, where they were greeted by their friends, some of whom had taken a break to lounge in the nearby hot tub. Later, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in soft pinks and oranges, the group reconvened at their private lodge for a round of storytelling by the fireplace. The day had been a testament to the beauty of Montana and the joy of sharing a once-in-a-lifetime adventure with someone you love. Big Sky isn't just about skiing, it's also a place for camaraderie and communal fun. One afternoon, Taylor and her friends decided to embrace the local spirit by donning cowboy hats, faux fur coats, and boots that struck a balance between fashion and practicality. They gathered on the lodge's expansive deck, raising their hats toward the mountain peaks in a playful salute. The moment was captured in a series of candid photos, silhouettes against the snowy backdrop, arms raised in a gesture of unbridled joy. The next day, the group decided to explore the backcountry on snowmobiles. Bundled in warm layers and helmets, they set out in a convoy across wide-open fields blanketed in fresh snow. Taylor and Travis led the group, the roar of the engines echoing through the stillness. The route took them past tall stands of pines and open meadows where distant mountain ranges stood guard. Snowflakes began to fall gently, turning the ride into a winter dreamscape. At one point, they stopped to admire the view, cutting their engines to let the hush of the wilderness envelop them. The silence was profound, broken only by the occasional whisper of wind through the trees. Taylor, always the poet, remarked that it felt like being in a living snow globe. Travis nodded in agreement, slipping an arm around her shoulders in a silent show of affection. Their friends snapped photos, capturing the moment for posterity, a testament to a day when time seemed to stand still, and the world was distilled into snow, sky, and laughter. Evenings in Big Sky carried their own magic. After hours spent skiing or snowmobiling, the group often retreated to the warmth of the lodge's living room, where plush couches beckoned. A large fireplace dominated the space, its mantel adorned with rustic Montana-themed decor, small carvings of bison, antlers entwined with fairy lights, and framed photographs of local wildlife. On one particularly memorable evening, everyone gathered for a festive dinner party. The table was set with candles that flickered against the dark wood, casting dancing shadows on the walls. Soft music played in the background, one of Taylor's favorite playlists, featuring both classic country ballads and contemporary pop hits. Travis took a moment to appreciate the blend of elegance and coziness, raising his glass to toast the group. After dinner, the women decided to host an impromptu fashion show in the main hall, showing off their winter-themed outfits, long knitted dresses, fringed jackets, and wide-brimmed hats. Taylor laughed until her sides hurt as one of her friends sashayed down an imaginary catwalk, nearly tripping over a furry rug. Meanwhile, Travis and a few of the guys cheered them on, clapping and whistling in good fun. The evening culminated in a fireside jam session, with Taylor picking up an acoustic guitar. She strummed a few chords, playing a new melody she had been working on. The gentle notes filled the room, weaving through the laughter and hushed conversations. Outside, snow continued to fall, blanketing Big Sky in a hush that seemed to mirror the peaceful contentment inside the lodge. Yesterday, Taylor and Travis were seen dining at the Yellowstone Club, a private haven known for its exclusivity and upscale ambience. News traveled quickly through the small mountain community, and soon locals were buzzing about the star-studded sighting. The Yellowstone Club was famous for its fine dining, offering dishes crafted from locally sourced ingredients and paired with world-class wines. Taylor arrived wearing a chic winter coat with a soft faux fur collar, while Travis opted for a tailored jacket and dark denim. They were escorted to a table with a panoramic view of the snow-laden mountains, the sun dipping low in the sky. As they perused the menu, which featured everything from bison tartare to huckleberry-infused desserts, they took a moment to reflect on the whirlwind of the past few days. Skiing, snowmobiling, hot tubbing with friends, it all felt like a dream. Adding to the star-studded nature of their outing, sports broadcaster Erin Andrews was also allegedly spotted joining Swift for lunch. Erin, who was in town covering a winter sports segment, greeted Taylor with a warm hug, and the two settled into an animated conversation. Travis, always gracious, pulled out a chair for Erin and made sure she was comfortably seated before turning his attention back to the menu. Their lunch was filled with laughter and camaraderie. Erin shared anecdotes from her time covering the NFL, teasing Travis about a memorable post-game interview. Taylor chimed in with stories from her touring days, recalling the surreal experience of performing for sold-out stadiums. Amid the lively conversation, the trio found common ground in their love for sports, music, and the thrill of new adventures. By the time dessert arrived, an artful presentation of huckleberry mousse, their table radiated with the warmth of genuine friendship, despite the joyous chaos of traveling with friends and running into acquaintances like Erin Andrews. Taylor and Travis yearned for a moment of solitude. One afternoon, they slipped away from the group and headed to a secluded spot at the edge of the property, where a private hot tub awaited them. Snowy pines loomed overhead, and the steam from the heated water rose in ethereal wisps. As they settled into the water, the contrast between the biting cold air and the comforting warmth of the tub sent a pleasant shiver down Taylor's spine. Travis leaned back, letting the tension in his shoulders melt away, the hot water soothing muscles still sore from skiing. They clinked champagne flutes in a quiet toast, no cameras, no fans, just the hushed whisper of winter around them. "This is perfect," Taylor murmured, her voice barely audible above the gentle bubbling of the water. Travis nodded, the corners of his eyes crinkling with a smile. The mountains soared in the distance, their peaks cloaked in white. Here, beneath Montana's endless sky, they felt cocooned in a bubble of tranquility. The moment reminded them both of the simple joys in life, the feeling of warm water against cool skin, the taste of champagne, and the security of being with someone who truly understands you. In the hush of the Montana afternoon, their connection deepened. This was what they had come for, not just the thrills of skiing or the glamour of exclusive clubs, but a shared sense of wonder and peace that could only be found in the heart of nature. The following day, they decided to revisit the backcountry trails on snowmobiles, but this time, just the two of them. With a local guide leading the way at a distance, they traversed winding paths that cut through dense forests and opened onto frozen lakes. Snow fell in soft flurries, coating their helmets and jackets in a thin layer of white. At one point, the guide suggested they stop at a remote clearing where the view of the surrounding peaks was rumored to be breathtaking. The clearing did not disappoint. The mountains formed a perfect crescent around them, their jagged outlines softened by thick blankets of snow. Taylor removed her helmet, shaking out her hair as she surveyed the vista. Travis approached her from behind, wrapping his arms around her waist, resting his chin lightly on her shoulder. "You know," he said quietly, "I never imagined a place could feel this peaceful." Taylor leaned her head against his. "Me neither. It's almost like time stops here." The silence between them spoke volumes. In that moment, they were just two souls caught in the grandeur of nature, a respite from the noise of their everyday lives. It was a reminder of how small and yet how significant they were in the grand tapestry of the world. They lingered for a while, allowing the hush of the clearing to sink in. Eventually, the guide signaled that it was time to head back, but they left with a sense of renewal, their hearts full of gratitude for this secluded paradise they had momentarily called their own. That evening, back at the lodge, the group decided to celebrate the trip's success with a festive gathering. Soft yellow lights illuminated the main hall, reflecting off the polished wooden beams overhead. The decor was a tasteful mix of modern elegance and rustic charm, an homage to Montana's dual identity as a frontier land and a luxury retreat. Taylor, ever the hostess, set up a small bar area stocked with locally distilled spirits. She poured huckleberry-infused cocktails for her friends, who were giddy from a day of outdoor adventures. Travis, wearing a relaxed smile, manned the music station, selecting tunes that ranged from classic rock to modern pop hits. The group laughed as they attempted line dancing on the lodge's thick rugs, occasionally stumbling and collapsing into fits of giggles. At one point, a few of the women, still in their cowboy hats, gathered around Taylor for an impromptu photo session. They posed in front of the large windows that overlooked the moonlit slopes, the snowy peaks faintly visible against the night sky. Laughter filled the room as they tried various dramatic poses, hats raised in playful defiance of the winter cold. Toward the end of the night, Travis took Taylor's hand, leading her away from the crowd. They slipped out onto the lodge's spacious deck, where the moonlight bathed the snow in a silvery glow. The laughter and music faded behind them, replaced by the hush of the mountains. Travis pulled Taylor close, and they swayed gently, dancing to the distant melody filtering through the glass doors. In that intimate moment, the mountains and the moon bore silent witness to a love that was growing stronger with each shared adventure. All too soon, the week of skiing, snowmobiling, and cozy gatherings drew to a close. Early on their final morning, Taylor and Travis rose before dawn, determined to savor every last moment. They stepped outside, the cold biting at their cheeks, and watched as the sun began its slow ascent over the mountains. The sky transformed from midnight blue to soft pink and gold, painting the peaks in brilliant hues. A sense of bittersweet finality settled over them. Big Sky had given them a rare gift, a chance to reconnect with themselves, each other, and the simple joys of life. The couple exchanged grateful smiles, each silently vowing to return to this winter wonderland someday. After a leisurely breakfast, they gathered their belongings, exchanging warm hugs and goodbyes with the lodge staff and their friends. Suitcases were loaded back into the SUV, and the engine purred to life in the frosty morning air. As the vehicle pulled away, Taylor glanced back at the lodge. Its dark wooden beams and flickering fireplace were no longer visible, but she could still feel the warmth of the memories they had made. Travis reached for her hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. "We'll be back," he said, as if reading her thoughts. Taylor nodded, her eyes shining with a mixture of contentment and anticipation. For them, Big Sky was not just a place, it was a tapestry of cherished moments and quiet revelations, a backdrop against which their love story had gained new depth. Word of their romantic getaway spread through social media and entertainment news outlets. Photos of them skiing, dining at the Yellowstone Club, and laughing with friends circulated online. Fans marveled at the scenic vistas and the genuine smiles captured in each snapshot. The story of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce sharing hot cocoa on a snowy slope or dining with Erin Andrews at a private club added another layer of intrigue to the couple's growing legend. Yet, for Taylor and Travis, the true value of the trip lay in the intangible moments that no camera could fully capture: the warmth of a fireplace on a cold night, the exhilaration of conquering a new ski run, the soft hush of a clearing in the mountains, and the comforting weight of a loved one's arms wrapped around you in the silent glow of the moonlight. Long after they returned to their busy schedules, Taylor back to the recording studio and Travis to the rigorous demands of football, the memories of Big Sky lingered. In interviews, Taylor might drop a playful hint about a new song inspired by the hush of falling snow. Travis, when asked about off-season adventures, would smile and recall the thrill of carving down the slopes alongside someone who matched his passion for life. Their friends, too, would reminisce about that magical week. They would pull out photos of themselves in cowboy hats, toasting the mountains from a deck high above the pines. They'd laugh about the time they tried line dancing in ski boots, or the exhilarating feeling of riding snowmobiles through the backcountry. Over time, these stories would become legends in their own right, retold with fondness and a tinge of nostalgia, and so, Big Sky became more than just a dot on a map or a winter resort in Montana. It became a symbol of possibility, proof that even in a world as hectic and scrutinized as theirs, two people could find serenity in the wild beauty of nature. It stood as a reminder that love, like the mountains, could be both exhilarating and grounding, a testament to the power of shared adventure and quiet understanding. And the weeks following their return, Taylor found herself humming melodies inspired by the snowy peaks and starry skies. She jotted down lyrics about wide-open spaces and silent nights, about the electrifying thrill of new love blossoming in a winter wonderland. Each note and phrase evoked the memory of Montana's crisp air, the warmth of the lodge, and the steady presence of Travis by her side. Travis, meanwhile, felt an unusual sense of calm and focus as he resumed training. The chaotic energy of the NFL had always been his home, but now he carried with him a new perspective, a quiet assurance gleaned from days spent in Big Sky's vast wilderness. He recalled the hush of the clearing where they had paused to take in the mountains, and he found that the memory had a centering effect, grounding him amid the bustle of professional sports. Friends and family noted the change in them both. There was a certain glow about Taylor, a softness in her laughter that hinted at deeper contentment. Travis, too, exuded a tranquility that balanced his usual competitive spirit. Whenever they spoke of Montana, their voices carried a reverence that words could hardly contain. In the flurry of upcoming events, awards shows, playoff games, tours, and interviews, both Taylor and Travis knew that life would soon sweep them up in its relentless pace. Yet they also knew that Big Sky was waiting for them, a steadfast refuge where they could return whenever they needed to rekindle the spark of awe and wonder that had marked their first trip. Their friends began to make plans, too. Some talked about a summer visit, tempted by tales of wildflower meadows and hiking trails that wound through the Gallatin National Forest. Others imagined a return to the slopes next winter, eager to relive the thrill of cutting through fresh powder under a brilliant Montana sun. Whatever the season, Big Sky promised new adventures, new moments of clarity, and fresh opportunities for connection. The story of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's romantic vacation in Big Sky was more than just a celebrity headline. It was a narrative of two individuals daring to carve out a slice of peace in a tumultuous world. It was a reminder that sometimes the best way to nurture love is to step away from the noise and let the silence of nature work its magic. As the final remnants of that Montana snow melted into memory, their love remained, stronger, brighter, and fortified by the knowledge that in the quiet corners of the world, they could always find their way back to each other. Big Sky would forever be etched in their hearts as the place where laughter mingled with the rush of the slopes, where friendships were forged over steaming mugs of cocoa, and where, in the hush of a moonlit clearing, they found the promise of a tomorrow filled with endless possibilities. And so, even as they parted ways with the mountains, the memory of Big Sky lingered in every breath they took, reminding them that sometimes, the grandest adventures are the ones that lead you not just through winding trails and powdery slopes, but into the deepest chambers of your own heart.